Welcome to Unveiled, where dreams weave into stories under the night's canopy. As dusk settles, find her sanctuary. I breathe deeply, letting the day's echoes fade. Close your eyes, embrace tranquility, and let my voice guide you through mystical lands. Here, stories glow like stars, each tale a path to unknown wonders. As you drift on the breath of imagination, let go of the waking world. Let these narratives cradle you into a peaceful slumber, where adventures await in the realm of dreams. Now relax, listen, and let the journey unfold. Good night, and let the magic begin. The Astrologer's Apprentice, Chapter 1. The Discovery. In the bustling town of Eldoria, where the mystical and the mundane intertwined like the threads of fate, there lived an apprentice named Solemn. Under the tutelage of Master Orion, a revered astrologer, Eileen was days were filled with charts, celestial calculations, and the meticulous study of the stars. Yet, within the heart of the young apprentice, a restless curiosity stirred. A longing to understand not just the movements of the heavens, but their influence on the tapestry of destiny. Master Orion's library was a treasure trove of ancient tomes, star maps, and astrological instruments, among which one sense of belonging and wonder. However, there was one door, always locked, that Master Orion had forbidden him to open. And knowledge behind this door, Orion would say, is the gravity that the lad his usual wont, is not meant for the hands of fettered servants, but for the eyes of fate itself. One evening, as twilight melded with the shadows, Milne's curiosity overcame his obedience. He noticed the key to the forbidden room, carelessly left in the master's desk amidst a sea of celestial charts. The opportunity was too rare to ignore. With a heart pounding in anticipation and guilt, Yellum seized the key, its cold metal, a weighty promise of hidden secrets. Here, the air was thick with the scent of old parchment and candle wax. The walls were lined with shelves that laddered books bound in leather, their spines etched with symbols that whispered of a power beyond the mere prediction of the stars. Vingo's fingers brushed against the volumes as he walked deeper into the room, and his eyes fell upon a particularly ancient tome, its cover adorned with a celestial diagram encircled by arcane inscriptions. The book seemed to beckon him, a silent siren call that resonated with his very soul. A mix of reverence and defiance, Nelu opened the book to a random page. A text was written and a script danced before his eyes, elusive yet familiar. As he concentrated, the words began to reveal themselves, speaking of rituals and sensations that could bend the wool of the stars, of untie the threads of fate itself. His mind raced with possibilities. Here in his hands lay the power to foresee and manipulate destiny, The allure of such knowledge was intoxicating. He could see the path of fate unfold before him, could alter the course of his own destiny. The thought was exhilarating, yet a whisper of doubt crept into his heart, a reminder of Master Orion's warning. But the apprentice's desire to transcend the ordinary, to touch the fabric of fate, silence the voice of caution. He resolved to delve deeper into the forbidden knowledge, convinced he could master it without succumbing to its dangers. As the candlelight flickered, casting shadows that danced like spirits of Willem felt a shift within him. A door had opened, not just to the room of forbidden knowledge, but within his own soul. The journey ahead was fraught with peril, but the path of curiosity was already calling him deeper into the unknown. He did not know the threads of his own fate had begun to entwine with forces beyond his understanding, setting the stage for a tale of ambition, power, and the delicate balance of destiny. The next morning, Nanim returned the key to its usual place, hoping his nocturnal exploration had gone unnoticed. However, the weight of the secret he now carried pressed heavily upon him, shadowing his thoughts even as he performed his daily duties. The forbidden Tamai's revelations about manipulating fate was incessantly in his mind, a tempting echo that drowned out the mundane rhythms of his apprenticeship. Master Orion seemed more pensive than usual, his keen eyes occasionally resting on Willem with an inscrutable expression. It was during one of their lessons under the vast dome of the observatory, surrounded by the celestial orbs and the intricate mechanisms that mirrored the heavens, that the master finally spoke of the matter weighing on his heart. Orion began, his voice carrying a gravity that still be air between them. At this suit of knowledge is a night that serves to seek out. Some truths are buried, not to handle enlightenment, but to protect us from the darkness they hold. Willem's heart skipped a beat. The master knew, yet, instead of admonishment, Orion's approach was one of cautionary guidance. He shared a tale not found in any of the books Nilun had studied, a tale from his own past. Years ago, Orion himself had stumbled upon the same forbidden knowledge, now ensnared to Dexalum. The allure of altering fate, of steering the course of destiny, had captured him just as it had the apprentice. Orion spoke of his experiments with the arcane rituals, each one a step further into a realm that humans were not meant to tread. With each success, his confidence grew, but so did the consequences. The master recounted one particular incident where his manipulation of fate had saved a village from a devastating flood, but it led to a drought that lasted years, causing suffering far greater than the disaster he had averted. It was a harsh lesson in the balance of the universe, a balance that, once disturbed, demanded to be restored, often at a great cost. The tapestry of fate, woven with threads too numerous and intricate for us to comprehend. Orion said, his voice tinged with the weight of memories. To pull on one thread in the hope of improving the pattern can unravel portions we never intended to disturb. But the master spoke of the responsibility that came with their knowledge. Need to respect the natural order and the dangers of hubris. As the lesson concluded, Orion left Nell with a warning that was both a concession and a plea. The path you're considering is fraught with shadows. Helen, if you choose to walk it, know that the light you seek may well lead you into darkness from which there is no return. That night, Nella lay awake, the stars hidden by the canopy of his chamber, seeming to mock his turmoil. The master's story had unveiled the depth of the secret he'd uncovered, a depth far more perilous than he'd imagined. Yet, the ember of his ambition, once kindled, was not easily mended, and the desire to test the boundaries of his newfound knowledge against the cautionary tale of his master waged a silent battle within him. As dawn crept across the sky, heralding a day that promised no answers to the questions that tormented him, Elam made his decision. A risk of darkness, he reasoned, was worth the pursuit of a light that could redefine his existence. He thought that he realized but the darkness Orion spoke of was closer than the shadows that retreated before the morning light. Empowered by a mix of fear and fascination, Elam delved deeper into the study of the forbidden knowledge in the following weeks. His days were spent performing his duties as an apprentice, but his nuts belonged to the hidden chamber and the ancient tone that had become obsession. As each page turned, the apprentice uncovered rituals and spells designed to manipulate the threads of destiny. The Qi, the are complex and dangerous than honest. Elam began to understand the intricate balance of the cosmos as described in the tome. It spoke of the loom of fate, a metaphorical device that weaved the destinies of all living beings. The rituals it described were ways to alter the loom's pattern, but it warned that for every action taken to change fate, there was a price to be paid. This balance, kept equilibrium, as the book called it, was not to be tampered with lightly. Despite Master Orion's cautionary tale, Elam desired to witness the power of these rituals. Firsthand grew irresistible. He rationalized that a small, controlled experiment would harm, and it would satisfy his curiosity while demonstrating his ability to control the forces at his command. One ritual, in particular, caught his eye. The spell purported to bring forth a minor fortune to the caster, altering luck ever so slightly in their favor. The ingredients were simple, the incantation short, and the risks according to the town minimal. Villain convinced himself that the small act of fate manipulation would be a harmless test of his mastery over the forbidden knowledge. Under the veil of night, with only the stars as his witness, the car prepared the ritual in seclusion of the hidden chamber. He followed the instructions meticulously, from the arrangement of the celestial symbols to the precise utterance of the ancient words. As he completed the ritual, a subtle shift in the air, a feeling of alignment and possibility, aspartame that something had indeed changed. In the days that followed, noticed a series of small but favorable changes in his life. A lost book he had long sought appeared in an unexpected place. The complex astrological calculation had baffled him for weeks suddenly unraveled. Even his relationship with Master All-Nine seemed to improve. Emblazoned by these successes, Elu, confidence in his ability to wield the forbidden knowledge without consequence swelled. He began to envision a future where he could alter not just his destiny, but the destinies of those around him for the better. The warnings in the Tarom and Master Orion's own words faded in the background, overshadowed by the allure of power and the promise of control. Yet, as the apprentice would soon learn, the equilibrium of fate is not easily swayed without repercussion. The fabric of destiny, once altered, would demand its due, and the price of tampering with the lure of fate was higher than Mumalam could have ever imagined. Initial successes were, but the calm before the storm, a deceptive lull that masked the gathering clouds of unintended consequences. As the melon lay in his bed one night, pondering his next steps and dreaming of his newfound abilities, a sense of unease began to creep into his heart. It was a premonition, a whisper of intuition that suggested his experimentations with fate were not as benign as he had believed. Ignorance to him, the threads of destiny were already weaving a pattern far different from what he had intended, setting the stage for events that would challenge his understanding of power, responsibility, and the true nature of fate itself. Buoyed by a success of his initial foray into manipulating fate, alone, ambition guided him toward a more daring experiment. He sought to influence not just trivial fortunes, but the outcome of events with significant consequences. The Forbidden Tome offered a myriad of options, each more complex and powerful than the last. Amen, ma'am. A ritual purported to ensure the success of a venture caught his eye. The spade that could tip the scales in favor of an endeavor that was otherwise doomed to fail. This time, Lylan chose to apply the ritual to a situation outside his immediate sphere. The town of Aldoria was facing a crisis. A local farm that supplied much of the town's produce was on the brink of failure due to a pest infestation that threatened to ruin the harvest. The community was abuzz with worry as the failure would not only devastate the farm's owners, but also lead to shortages and increased prices for the townsfolk. Seeing an opportunity to test his abilities and benefit the community, the Salem decided to perform the ritual in secret, aiming to alter the farm's fate. Under the cover of darkness, he ventured to the outskirts of the farm, carrying with him the ingredients and tools required by the town. The ritual was more complex, involving specific astrological alignments, a series of intricate symbols drawn on the ground, and a chant that had to be recited with precise intonation. As Iron completed the ritual, the air around him shimmered with a subtle energy, leaving him with a sense of accomplishment and anticipation. In the days that followed, the town passed with miraculous news. The pest had not only been halted, but for frost, the crops healthier in the farm was saved, and Kalumba was secret intervention mishailed as a stroke of mysterious good fortune among the townsfolk. Slu watched the celebrations from the shadows, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. He had altered the fate of an entire community, steering it away from hardship and toward prosperity. The success of this experiment was proof of his mastery over the forbidden knowledge, or so he believed. However, the balance of fate is a delicate thing. The boon to the farm and the town did not come without cost. In the weeks that followed, Alan began to notice a series of small misfortunes befalling those around him. Many accidents, illnesses, doses in a strain of bagged lacatis plenty. At first, Wylam dismissed these incidents as coincidences and related to his actions. Yet, as they continued to escalate in frequency and severity, a nagging doubt began to grow in his mind. The tome had warned of that disequilibrium, a cosmic balance that ensured every action taken to alter destiny would have its consequences. Slilo had naively believed he could control or even evade these repercussions, but the reality of his situation was becoming increasingly clear. The apprentice realized that his experiments with fate were not the controlled, benevolent acts he had imagined. Instead, he had disturbed a delicate balance, the apples of which were only beginning to manifest. The realization that his actions might have caused harm to those he intended to help weighed heavily on his conscience, casting a shadow over his triumph as the initial euphoria of his success faded, replaced by a growing sense of foreboding. Well understood that the true test of his manipulation of fate was not to meet immediate outcomes, but on consequences. The lesson that Master Ryan had tried to impart, that some knowledge carries with it a burden too heavy for mortal shoulders, began to take on a profound significance, faced with the unintended effects of his actions. Alan was forced to confront the possibility that his quest for mastery over fate might lead, like to outcomes far beyond his control. The realization that he had ventured into dangerous waters without understanding the time, the turning point in his journey, setting the stage for a reckoning with the true cost of tampering with the threads of destiny. The wave of minor misfortunes that had begun to plague Andoria soon grew into a torrent of serious calamities. While unwatched, horror-stricken, as the very fabric of the community he had sought to protect began to unravel. The farm, once saved from ruin, now faced a new crisis. The mysterious blight that attacked the very crops that it derived so miraculously. This blight, unlike any seen before, resisted all attempts at eradication, casting a shadow of despair over the town. As Unveiled came to the book, which had once seemed pulse with promise, now lay silent, its secrets mocking his desperation. The realization that his actions had precipitated these events weighed heavily on him, a burden of guilt that was palpable. The apprentice could no longer deny the connection between his manipulation of fate and the miseries that had befallen Valdoria. Each attempt to intervene in the natural order had been met with a counterbalance, a cosmic correction that restored the equilibrium, that disrupted, that at a great cost. The prosperity he had engineered for the farm had been offset by a series of disasters that now threatened to consume it, and him, in their wake. Confronting Master Orion with his deeds, Elam found not the anger he expected, but a profound sadness. Our right long feared this moment, the inevitable consequence of meddling with forces beyond human comprehension. The Master Astrologer spoke softly, his words a lament for the path his apprentice had chosen. In our pursuit of mastery over fate, we forget that we are at strands within, but we, not weavers ourselves. The balance or disturbed seeks restoration, and it cares not for the intentions behind your actions, only for the restoration of harmony. A community's struggle against the blight became a grim reminder of Callum's folly. No longer hailed as a mysterious benefactor, he now carried the secret shame of knowing he was the architect of their misfortune. The trust and camaraderie that had once defined Undaria were eroding, replaced by a growing sense of unease and desperation. In a final, desperate attempt to rectify his mistakes, Alu turned to the forbidden tome once more, seeking any ritual that might undo the harm he had caused. But the knowledge he sought was not to be found within its pages. Instead, he was forced to confront a harsh truth: that some actions, once taken, cannot be undone. And the price of tampering with fate was far higher than he had been willing to abound. A resolution to realize plight came not from the arcane knowledge he had so eagerly pursued, from a time, so the return to the fundamental principles working alongside Master Orion. He dedicated himself to aiding the town through more mundane means, showing them knowledge of the stars to predict the best planting and harvesting times. Often I thought of the past sometimes. Through these efforts, William began to understand the true nature of his relationship with fate. It was not a force to be pinned to his will, but however his course could be navigated with care and respect. The Apprentice, his journey into the knowledge of forbidden knowledge, had kindled not with the mastery he had sought, but with a deeper wisdom making vision of his own limitations and the understanding that the poet has taught it. As the seasons changed, Eldora slowly recovered from its trials. Reem's actions became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of hubris and the importance of respecting the delicate balance of fate. The apprentice, now humbled and wiser, dedicated himself anew to the study of the stars, no longer as a means to control destiny, but as a man. The chapter of unintended consequences closes with the cloud getting up at the night sky, not as an astrologer, but as a student of its infinite mysteries, ready to embark on a new path forward from the last pessimisms of its past. Chapter 2. The Consequences. In the wake of the blight and the series of misfortunes that plagued Eldora, Willem devoted himself to aiding the town's recovery. However, as the apprentice immersed himself in this work, reports began to emerge of strange occurrences beyond the town's borders. Neighboring communities, previously untouched by Eldora's troubles, were now facing their own series of unexplained difficulties. Crops failed in fields that had been fertile for generations, mysterious illnesses afflicted livestock, and tensions among villagers escalated into conflicts that defied resolution. Theon, with his newfound humility and understanding of Fatlax's nature, could shake the feeling that these events were not mere coincidences. They seemed to him like the outer ripples of a stone thrown into a pond, emanating from the epicenter of his own actions in Eldora. The forbidden storm had willed the equilibrium of fate, suggesting that any disturbance would seek balance. But Nellen had not fully grasped the scope of this balance. It was not confined to his immediate surroundings. The consequences of his actions were spreading, affecting the delicate with destinies far beyond his own. The apprentice sought out Master Orion, seeking guidance and insight into these new developments. Orion, ever the mentor, listened intently to the hum sense. He explained that the cosmos is interconnected in ways beyond human understanding. Every action, every choice sends ripples through the fabric of fate, Orion said. These ripples can extend far beyond our line of sight, touching lives and altering destinies in ways we may never fully comprehend. With a heavy heart, William realized that his attempt to play God, to alter the course of fate for one small town, had set in motion a chain of events that now fed him about its time. The realization was a bitter pill to swallow. His actions, born from a desire to do good and demonstrate his mastery over the forces of destiny, had instead sunk chaos and discord. Determined to make amends, Veland embarked on a journey beyond the borders of Eldora, intent on understanding the full extent of the ripple effect he had caused. In each community he visited, He saw the consequences of his actions reflected in the eyes of those suffering from the unforeseen fallout. Farms struggling to survive in the wake of unexplained crop failures, families torn apart by sudden misfortune, communities divided by disputes that seemed to rise from nowhere. With each story, Maelumi's resolve strengthened. He applied his astrological expertise to advise farmers on planting and harvesting, mediated disputes with the wisdom he had gained from his own failures, and shared the lessons of his journey with all who would listen. Through these acts of service, Nulon began to understand the true nature of his relationship with the cosmos. He learned that wisdom lay not in the manipulation of fate, but in the understanding and acceptance of its natural flow. The Apprentice journey became one of healing, not just for the communities he helped, but for himself, in seeking to repair the damage he had caused. Wallum found a deeper sense of purpose and a clearer understanding of his place within the tapestry of the universe. Upon returning to Paldoria after his journey to the neighboring communities, Baim was summoned on Master Orion. The air in the observatory was tense, charged with a palpable sense of urgency. Orion, who had been following Bemenin's efforts from afar, had also been observing the unsettling developments beyond their town. The astrologer had come to a grave conclusion about the nature of the disturbances and their link to Gia, his initial meddling with fate. Orion began the conversation with a heavy heart, acknowledging Sahnel's sincere attempts to mend the consequences of his actions. However, he emphasized that the Apprentice Givers, while noble, were not enough to counterbalance the disturbance in the cosmic equilibrium. Balum, Orion said, his voice imbued with a solemnity that demanded attention. His journey of amends is commendable, but it does not adjust the issue. The fabric of fate, once altered, seeks its own form of justice. Orion laid bare the fundamental error, and now understanding of fate and power. He explained that the universe operated on a principle of balance, and any attempt to manipulate this balance was not only fatal, but potentially catastrophic. The astrologer revealed his own past failures, sharing stories of times when his own attempts to wield the forces of destiny had backfired, teaching him the hard-earned lesson that some forces were beyond human control. The dangers of manipulating fate were grave. Orion continued, not only because of the immediate repercussions, which you have witnessed firsthand, but because the balance of the universe is an intricate and delicate web. When one strand is pulled, the entire web vibrates. Your actions have sent shockwaves through this web, the effects of which are still unfolding. Orion's warning was a sobering reminder of the weight of responsibility that came with their knowledge. He stressed that astrology and the study of celestial forces were tools for understanding guidance, not mechanisms for control. Our role is to observe, to learn, and to advise, not to dictate the course of destiny, he said. The conversation then turned to the concept of fact as equilibrium, a natural law that ensured balance in the cosmos. Orion explained that this equilibrium was self, error, and indwell. Moon's intentions to rectify his mistakes were honorable. They might not be sufficient to restore balance. The universe seeks its own path to harmony, Orion said. Sometimes, the best action is inaction, allowing the natural order to realign itself. This meeting marked a turning point for Selim. The apprentice listened intently, absorbing the gravity of Orion's words. The realization that his efforts, however well-intentioned, could potentially exacerbate the imbalance was a bitter pill to swallow. It forced Joel to confront the limits of his power and the wisdom of restraint. Orion's warning concluded with a call to humility and a reminder of the sacred trust bestowed upon those who study the stars. We are but custodians of knowledge, Natalong. No, he said. Our greatest duty is to respect the mysteries of the cosmos, not to unravel them. As the Sol left the observatory, the weight of Orion's warning settled upon his shoulders. The night sky, once a canvas of limitless possibility, now seemed to him a mirror reflecting the complexity and interwebness of all things. The apprentice understood that his journey forward was not about undoing the past, but about living with the consequences of his actions, moving forward with a deeper respect for the natural order of the universe. Following the profound warning from Master Orion, Sam found himself at a crossroads. The gravity of Orion's words hung heavily upon him. Yet a part of him resisted the notion that his attempts to rectify his mistakes were in vain. This chapter, Apprentice, explores the Unveiled eternal struggle as it grapples with the reality of a situation, then his stubborn belief that he can still correct the course of fate he has so drastically altered. Despite the wisdom imparted by his mentor, Paul couldn't shake off a deep-seated conviction that there was still something he could do, a way to undo the ripple effects of his actions. This denial stemmed not from arrogance, but from a sincere desire to right his wrongs, to prove that his heart was in the right place, and that his efforts had not been entirely misguided. In the days following his conversation with Orion, the young threw himself into his studies with a renewed fervor, scouring ancient texts and astrological charts for any clue that might offer us a solution to the chaos. He believed that if he could just find the right alignment, the perfect celestial configuration, he could counteract the negative consequences of his actions and restore balance to the cosmos. Isenu's denial manifested in a series of secret experiments, each more desperate than the last. Under the cover of night, he would attempt to cast intricate astrological spells, drawing on the alignments of the stars and the phases of the moon, in an attempt to influence fate for a more favorable direction. With each failed attempt, his frustration grew, but so did his denial. He was convinced that failure was not a sign of the futility of his endeavors, but merely an indication that he had not yet discovered the right approach. This period of denial was marked by a growing isolation from the community he had once sought to help. While an sin-minded obsession with fixing his mistakes led him to neglect the relationships he had built and the people who had come to rely on his guidance. His friends and neighbors noticed the change in him, the way he seemed to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. But neither was too consumed by his quest to notice their concern. His experiments grew more cautious. The consequences became increasingly unpredictable. One such attempt inadvertently led to a week of unrelenting storms that battered Aldoria, causing damage to homes and fields that had only just recovered from the previous disasters. It was a stark reminder of the unpredictability of fate and the dangers of attempting to manipulate it. The realization that his actions had once again brought harm to his community was a turning point for Shalom. It forced him out of his state of denial and made him confront the harsh truth that his mentor had tried to impart. Some forces were beyond human control. That is a tale that cracks. This chapter concludes with Realum standing amidst the wreckage caused by the storms, a poignant symbol of the consequences of his denial. It is a moment of profound realization for the apprentice, as he understands that his refusal to accept the limits of his power has only compounded the chaos he sought to resolve. The lessons of humility and the acceptance of one's limitations are hard, long, but follow are the first steps toward true wisdom and attention. The Apprentice denial is a critical adoration of the human. It underscores the theme of the story. And true strength lies in recognizing our vulnerabilities and learning to move forward with humility and respect for the natural order. Emerging from the depths of denial, Alon's journey takes a harrowing turn in the price of power. This chapter delves into the Apprentice's realization of the profound costs associated with his attempts to wield and manipulate celestial forces. As Turan confronts the aftermath of his actions, he faces not only the physical toll on his community, but also the moral and ethical dilemmas that challenge his understanding of power and responsibility. Following the storm's devastation, Wilhelm's initial feelings of defiance and determination give way to a deep sense of remorse and introspection. He begins to comprehend the true nature of the power he sought to master. A force that is as indomitable as it is indifferent to human will. This marks off the critical point in Nilekrin's journey, as he starts to question not only his capabilities, but also the very ethics of his actions. Haunted by the consequences of his attempts to manipulate fate, Yelam is forced to confront the harsh truth that his power has limits, and that these limits are defined not by the extent of his knowledge or skill, He recognizes that his intervention in a natural order has not only disrupted the lives of those around him, but has also placed him at a moral crossroads, changing his understanding of right and wrong. The Apprentice's struggle is compounded by the realization that his actions have had irreversible effects on the people and the world he sought to protect. Willem is faced with the difficult truth that some of the damage cannot be done, that lives have been irrevocably altered. In fact, his quest for control has in fact overwhelmed to This chapter explores the internal conflict that arises from Neil's newfound awareness of the price of his power. He grapples with guilt, regret, and the daunting question of how to move forward when the path behind is littered with mistakes. The burden of his knowledge forces Willem to reconsider his approach to the celestial arts, shifting his focus from attempting to dominate fate to understanding his place within the cosmic tapestry. So, Lella Samantha Lella's further complicated by the realization that his pursuit of power has isolated him from those he once sought to help. His relationships with friends, family, and the community of authority have been strained, if not severed, by his actions. The apprentice understands that the path to redemption requires not only change in his approach to astrology, but also a rebuilding of trust and a return to the foundation of values of service and humility, the first journey of his craft. The poignant moment of reflection. The element acknowledges that the true cost of power lies not in the physical toll it extracts, but in the ethical and emotional burdens it imposes. He comes to see that true strength lies in the ability to wield power with wisdom, restraint, and compassion. A lesson that carries a price he is only beginning to comprehend. The price of power, constituting the first steps toward reconciliation, both with the community of Yotoria and with himself. He begins to reach out to those affected by his actions, offering apologies and assistance, not as a means to undo the past, but as an expression of genuine remorse and a commitment to do the debt in the future. In the depths of his despair, and driven by a profound sense of responsibility for the chaos he has unleashed, Willem resolves to undertake a final drastic measure. A desperate attempt to reverse fate chronicles this pivotal moment in the Apprentice journey, where the stakes are no longer just the well-being of his humanity, but his very existence, haunted by the devastation his actions have caused and emboldened by the realization of the true price of power. Willem delves into ancient, forbidden text. These texts speak of a ritual so potent and perilous that it was said to have the power to alter the very fabric of destiny itself. The ritual, however, comes with a warning. What demands a sacrifice equal in measure to the fate it seeks to rewrite. Understanding the gravity of this undertaking, Nealon spends countless nights poring over the ancient manuscripts, deciphering the cryptic symbols and inconsistent citizens require survival. The apprentice knows that this may be his final act, one that could either restore balance to the disrupted cosmic order or obliterate him from existence. The weight of this decision is not lost on him, but the possibility of redemption and the chance to undo the harm he has caused drives him forward. The ritual requires the alignment of the stars in a rare configuration that occurs but once in a generation. Will prepares meticulously, gathering the necessary celestial instruments and arcane materials outlined in the texts. As the night of the alignment approaches, he retreats to a secluded grove known for its strong celestial energies, the very place where his journey into the mysteries of fate began. With stars overhead beginning to align, Nealon initiates the ritual. He chants the ancient incantations, each word vibrating with the power of untold millennia. The air around him crackles of energy as he draws upon the celestial forces, weaving them into a complex matrix of fate and time. The ritual reaches its zenith. Nealon offers up the only sacrifice he believes equal to the task, and his own essence, his soul, bound to the will of the cosmos. The grove is engulfed in a blinding light, and for a moment, the fabric of reality seems to tear itself apart. Saying, feels himself stepping, not just from consistence itself, as the ritual consumes him in its fiery embrace. Then silence. Wilhelm awakens at dawn. It grows serene and untouched, as if the tumultuous events of the night were but a dream. He rises, feeling a profound sense of peace and a connection to the cosmos that he had never experienced before. The chaos that plagued Daedalus seems to have calmed, but at what cost? As Nealon returns to the village, he realizes the ritual, his effects, are not as he had anticipated. Rather than reversing the consequences of his actions, the ritual has woven them into the fabric of the village's destiny, transforming trust into lessons and despair into hope. The community has come together stronger and more united than before, their resilience a testament to their collective spirit. Wilhelm's attempt to erase his mistakes may not have yielded the outcome he expected, but it has granted him a deeper understanding of fate and free will. He yearns that destiny is not a path to be manipulated, but a tapestry woven from the actions, choices, and wills of all beings. In the aftermath of the ritual and the transformative experiences it wrought, Nealon emerges with a newfound resolve. The search for redemption captures the Apprentice, journey from a place of reckoning to one of healing and restitution. Fully cognizant of the consequences of his past actions, Nealon is now committed to restoring balance or making amends to those he has affected. The chapter begins with Nealon's sullen should turn to the village of Adoria, where the landscape, though still bearing the scars of the chaos he unwittingly unleashed, shows signs of recovery and resilience. The Apprentice is of rejection, is met with unexpected forgiveness from the community, who recognize the depth of his remorse and his sincere desire to make things right. Motivated by this gesture of forgiveness, Leon sets out on a quest to restore balance to the natural world he had disturbed and to mend the social fabric of Adoria. He consults with Master Orion, who, despite his initial disappointment, sees in Nanan a profound change and offers guidance on how to use his knowledge for the benefit of all. Miriam, as efforts, take him beyond the confines of Eldoria, seeking wisdom from other masters and adepts in the celestial arts. He learns ancient rites of healing and restoration, which he applies not only to the land, but also to the hearts of those around him. His journey is one of humility, as he offers his services without the expectation of forgiveness, understanding that redemption is a path, not a destination. As the seasons change, so too does the world around. The land, once marred by his misdirected attempts at control, begins to heal. Crops flourish, natural calamities subside, and the villagers find themselves in a period of prosperity they had not known for years. This physical transformation mirrors the internal change within Malum, who finds a deep sense of purpose in his work. However, Alcar, his true redemption is not without its challenges. He faces skepticism from those who doubt his transformation and fears within himself that he may once again stray from the path of balance. These moments of doubt serve to strengthen his resolve, as he is reminded of the price of hubris and the importance of walking in harmony with the cosmos. In a symbolic gesture of his commitment to balance and service, Alium undertakes the construction of an observatory at the edge of Eldoria. The observatory serves not only as a tool for his work, but also as a sanctuary for those who wish to learn about the celestial forces that govern their world. Need to come together to celebrate the cycles of the stars and the earth. The search for redemption culminates in a ceremony held at the newly completed observatory, attended by the villagers of Eldoria and travelers from afar. Standing before those he once sought to control, offers a heartfelt apology for his past actions and a pledge to serve the greater good. In this moment, the apprentice is no longer defined by his mistakes, but by his commitment to growth and service. This chapter closes with the Clorlum gazing up at the stars, a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the small but significant role each being plays in its balance. He understands now that redemption is not found in grand gestures, but in the daily acts of kindness, humility, and stewardship. 2. The search for redemption. Now Sunny comes full circle, from a naive apprentice seeking power to a wise guardian of balance. This chapter serves as a testament to the power of transformation, and the enduring hope that even the gravest of mistakes can be the catalyst for profound growth and healing. Chapter 3. The Resolution. After the ceremony at the observatory, Master Orion takes Milun aside for a private conversation under the starlit sky. The astrologer acknowledges Belumin's efforts to amend his past actions and commends him for his dedication to the community's well-being. Yet there remains one last lesson to impart Hassan that Alan must grasp to truly understand his place in the universe. Master Orion leads Nihem on a nocturnal walk through the woods. Hassan leads Grayard Matsium Yun Jaiwipitan. They arrive at a clearing where the stars shine with exceptional clarity, a place where the veil between the earthly and the celestial seems thinnest. Here, Master Orion shares his wisdom about the natural course of fate and the limits of human influence. The stars guide us. Marum. Master Orion begins, his gaze fixed on the heavens. They offer insight into the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. But we must understand that their guidance is not a mandate for control. A cosmos operates on a scale beyond our comprehension, maintaining balance through its own intricate mechanisms. Lala listens intently, the weight of Orion's words settling in his heart. The astrologer continues, Our role is not to dictate or manipulate the natural order, but to align with it. To respect the limits of our influence is to honor the wisdom of the universe. It is in this humility that we find true power, the power to effect change within ourselves and inspire it in others. As they speak, a shooting star arcs across the sky, a symbol of the transient beauty of existence on the endless cycle of transformation. Master Orion seizes this serendipitous moment to illustrate his point. Like that shooting star, our lives are fleeting in the grand tapestry of the cosmos. Yet, within our brief moment, we hold the potential to light up the darkness, to guide, heal, and teach. The lesson culminates with Orion urging Nathaniel to accept the natural course of fate, to recognize the beauty in the unfolding of life's mysteries. I am to embrace his influence with grace. To accept this is not to relinquish power, but to understand where true power lays, in the wisdom to know when to act and when to let be, in the courage to face the unknown, and in the compassion to aid others on their journey. Wellum reflects on Orion's words, feeling a profound sense of peace and understanding wash over him. He realizes that his desire to control fate stemmed from fear, a fear of the unknown, of loss, and of insignificance. In accepting the natural course of fate, he finds liberation from these fears and a deeper connection to the world around him. The final lesson marks the culmination of the Liluum's journey. From an apprentice consumed by ambition to wise guardian of balance, he has learned to navigate the delicate balance between influencing fate and succumbing to it, finding his place within the cosmic order. As the chapter closes, Mekran and Astrologer return to the village, their path illuminated by the soft glow of the stars. The apprentice now set challenges lie ahead, but he is now equipped with the wisdom to face them. He understands that his strength lies not in bending the universe to his will, but in harnessing his actions with the natural rhythms of the cosmos. This final lesson, a testament to the beauty of acceptance and the power of humility, forever changes Malam. He is no longer an apprentice in the traditional sense, but a guardian of an ancient wisdom that transcends the ages. A wisdom that teaches the value of respecting the natural course of fate and the limits of influence. As the dawn breaks over Eldoria, casting a golden hue over the village, Vellum sits at the edge of the observatory, reflecting on Master Orine's teachings. The events of the past months have transformed him, not only in knowledge but in spirit. He ponders the lessons learned, recognizing that with each revelation came on. William realizes that wisdom is not merely the acquisition of knowledge, but understanding the weight at its application. Each decision he made, armed with the foresight of the stars, shaped not only his destiny, but also the lives of those around him. This realization brings with it a heavy burden, the cost of wisdom. He recalls the ripple effects of his actions, the chaos that ensued from his attempts to alter fate. It becomes clear that knowledge in itself is a double-edged sword, one that can heal or harm, depending on the wielder. Infinite awareness. The responsibility of wielding this sword is immense, requiring a balance of humility, foresight, and compassion. As Tulam contemplates this, Master Orion joins him, sensing the turmoil within his apprentice. Wisdom is not a shield against the trials of life, nor a sword to vanquish every challenge, Orion says gently. This is a light that illuminates the path, guiding us through the darkness. But we must remember, it is our hand that holds the lantern, and our feet that walk the path. The conversation shifts to the concept of responsibility. Master Orion explains that with great knowledge comes the obligation to use it wisely, to consider the broader impact of one's actions on the fabric of fate. True wisdom, he asserts, lies in recognizing the eternalness of all things, and acting not for personal gain, but for the greater good. This dialogue marks a pivotal moment for Chilam. He understands now that the cost of wisdom is the constant vigilance it demands. The vigilance to question not just the potential of his actions, but their morality. Wisdom is as much about knowing what to do as about knowing what not to do, about when to act, and when to let the cosmos take its course. Reflecting on his journey, Nelum sees the scars of his past not as blemishes, but as lessons carved into the landscape of his being. These lessons have taught him the value of restraint, the importance of, and the courage to admit when he is wrong. The cost of wisdom closes with Unveiled, addressing the villagers at the observatory, sharing his journey and the lessons learned. He speaks of the responsibility that comes with knowledge, of the need for humility in the face of the unknown, and of the courage to make choices that align with the greater good. As he speaks, there's a sense of unity in the air, a shared understanding that wisdom is not the sole province of the astrologer or the apprentice, but a collective treasure to be nurtured and So, words resonate with the villagers, inspiring a communal pledge to pursue knowledge with respect for the balance of fate. This chapter's weaving together the themes of knowledge, responsibility, and ethical action serves as a testament to Law's growth. From a reckless apprentice to a guardian of wisdom, he has come to understand that the true cost of wisdom is the vigilance and integrity required to wield it justly. As the season turns, bringing a chill to the air that whispers of change, Maloney prepares for a ceremony that he hopes will mend the fractures in the fabric of fate caused by his early interventions. He has learned much from Master Orion, all the tumultuous consequences of his actions, understanding now that to restore balance, he must offer something of himself in return. The ceremony is to take place under the auspices of a rare celestial alignment, an event that Master Orion has calculated will amplify our efforts to realign the disturbed cosmic equilibrium. The entire village gathers at the observatory, their faces a tapestry of hope and solemnity, reflecting the gravity of the moment. The loom stands at the center of the observatory, surrounded by ancient symbols and artifacts, the air thick with the scent of incense and the murmurs of ancient incantations. Master Orion is by his side, offering solid support and guidance as Sulam begins the intricate ritual. As the celestial bodies align, Lulum channels the wisdom he has garnered, focusing his intent on healing the rifts his actions have wrought. He visualizes the threads of fate weaving back together, the harmony of the cosmos restored. As he delves deeper into the ritual, he feels a profound connection to the fabric of the universe, an understanding that his own fate is irrevocably tied to the balance he seeks to restore. With a final, resonant chant, Lailum completes the ceremony, but the toll is immediate. A surge of energy courses through him, a force too vast for any mortal to wield without consequence. As the energy dissipates, the observatory falls silent, the villagers watching in awe as the stars above seem to shine a little brighter. The cosmic disharmony quieted. Yet, the cost to the Sulam is clear. His aged, his once youthful features marked by the passage of time, his vitality diminished. Master Orion helps him to stand, pride and sorrow mingling in his eyes. Lisu has succeeded in restoring balance, but the vitality he has sacrificed is apparent to all. In the days that follow, the village feels a palpable shift. The crops flourish, the rivers flow with renewed vigor, and the people of Vitoria find themselves in a period of unprecedented prosperity and peace. Our lamb sacrifice has realigned the natural and cosmic orders, but it has also altered the trajectory of his own life. Salom, now carrying the visage of one far beyond his years, retreats into a contemplative existence. He spends his days studying the stars and teaching the younger villagers the principles of harmony and the importance of respecting the natural order. The return to balance is not just a story of cosmic restoration, but also a profound exploration of the personal sacrifices inherent in the pursuit of wisdom and the greater good. Harmony's journey illustrates that the path to harmony often requires us to give a part of ourselves, a theme that resonates deeply within the human condition. As the chapter closes, Milam stands once again under the starlit sky, his gaze serene. He has come to terms with the price of his actions, finding peace in the knowledge that his sacrifices forged a better future for Aldoria. He understands now that balance is not just a cosmic principle, but a prisma achieved through the choices we make and the sacrifices we are willing to endure. This final act of volume story is a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between ambition and wisdom, action and consequence, and the enduring exalted harmony of the hurried dawn in Eldunada reveals the village reborn, thriving under the equilibrium restored by Lilim's sacrifices. The land, once marred by the unintended consequences of his youthful hubris, now flourishes, mirroring the inner cost of its inadvertent architect. Psalm, aged beyond his years by the ritual, embodies the wisdom and serenity that true understanding brings. In the aftermath of the ceremony, Willem has retreated into a life of quiet reflection and purpose. He no longer seeks to bend the will of the cosmos to his desires, but instead guides others on how to live in harmony with the forces that govern their existence. His lessons, once purely academic, were now imbued with the depth of personal experience, resonating with all who hear them. Master Ryan, observing the profound change in his apprentice, entrusts Salem with greater responsibilities. Itanen is tasked with teaching new apprentices not just about the mechanics of the stars, but about the ethical implications of their knowledge. He emphasizes the importance of restraint, the wisdom of observing and understanding before acting, and the virtue of humility in the face of the vast unknown. His teachings extend beyond the observatory. He becomes a figure of guidance within the community, helping resolve disputes with a newfound perspective that balances individual desires with the greater good. His approach, always considering the broader impact of actions, fosters a sense of unity and cooperation among the villagers. The narrative also explores Cordel's personal journey of acceptance. It comes to terms with the physical cost of his actions, This acceptance transforms him, in the eyes of the villagers, into a living testament to the virtues of wisdom and sacrifice. Apprentice culminates in a ceremonial event marking the anniversary of the ritual that restored balance. This way, if the community shares his story, not as a tale of personal achievement, but as a parable on the importance of understanding our place within the larger tapestry of existence. He speaks of the identity, fate and free will, and the profound impact of our choices. He urges his listeners to seek knowledge, not for the sake of power, but for the enrichment of their lives and the betterment of their world. His words, once those of a reckless youth, now carry the weight and wisdom of a seasoned guardian. As the narrative closes, Nalum looks to the stars, not as objects to be manipulated, but as ancient guides offering lessons in humility, perseverance, and the beauty of the cosmos. His journey from apprentice to mentor is complete, but he understands that the path of learning never truly ends. Each day offers new opportunities to grow, to contribute to the balance he once sought to control, and to live a life that honors the intricate web of fate that connects us all. The Apprentice's new path is not just the conclusion of Lanham's story. It is an invitation to all who wander the path of life, who urge to seek wisdom to act with compassion, and footsteps. It is a testament to the power of transformation and the enduring light of the human spirit in its quest for harmony and understanding.